It's happened again. Another fire. Another very suspicious fire. I know what you're thinking. I'm thinking the same thing. I'm thinking something that a lot of people are thinking. And what I'm going to do is to provide you with the questions you should ask, the specific questions you should ask. I'm not going to say that something is this without evidence, but I'm going to lead you and suspect or lead you into areas that you should suspect of what's going on. I'm going to tell you, this looks like something. When you're an arson investigator, things don't add up. Didn't that guy just get an insurance policy on this building? Didn't he overinsure it? Doesn't he have a record for arson? That's not enough, but that's leading us. I'm not going to say it's true. I'm not going to say it's a fact. I don't know, but it sure looks funny. I think that's where we should go, don't you? I think that's where we should look, don't you? I think it would be a real good idea for us to go in that area. Don't you? Don't you think it'd be a good idea for us, knowing what we know? I'm going to take you through this tonight, my friend. I've got stuff for you. And if you are new to the game, new to the conspiratorium, new to the clerisy, new to this way of thinking, I welcome you. And I just ask that you make sure you are subscribed. I can't believe the number of people who are unsubscribed. And all of a sudden people say, but I thought I was. Or people who never think about doing it. Because I just left a video presentation on the Lionel Legal channel that goes into this as well. But we have a little different angle tonight. I'm going to give you some things to think about. And I'm going to give you the information for you to go on and for you to investigate. Because remember, at Lionel Nation, we don't say things are. We don't say, well, I think it would be nice if this were true, so I'm going to say it's true. Gee, I think so-and-so is a moperer. I think he's involved in mopery. I'm going to say it then. And people will say, yeah, I think that too. Do I know it? Who cares? Well, we don't work like that. You got it? We don't work like that, bucko. But before we begin, and before I unload, let me tell you to listen very carefully to this incredibly critical word. Listen to this. New reports reveal that the average person has $8,674 in credit card debt. Plus, the total average consumer debt is a shocking $104,215 between mortgages, auto loans, student loans, credit cards, and unsecured loans. Unfortunately, without outside assistance, many will continue digging themselves deeper and deeper into the hole of debt. I've advised and counseled friends and clients for years who want to take back control of individual debt about this secret weapon that has helped so many consolidate everything owed into one affordable monthly payment. They even helped negotiate a settlement agreement that will allow you to pay less than the total balance. Listen, they settled over $275 million in debt, and they've helped people become debt-free in an average of 28 months. I've had such an incredible experience referring clients and friends that I wanted to partner with them here and introduce their services to you, my loyal Lionel Nation family. If you want a helping hand to get out of debt, I absolutely, positively, and strenuously recommend booking a free consultation now by going to nodebtwithlionel.com. Look at the address. Once again, that's nodebtwithlionel.com. Use the link I've provided under the title. Listen to me. You can take control and learn how to get out of debt now. My friends, it has happened again. Fires. Massive fires, incredible fires. Fires hitting very important, very high-priced real estate sites. Pacific Palisades. Now, for those of you who are here for the first time, you might say, okay, so what does this mean? What is this? What are you getting at? What are you getting at? There's fires. There's always been fires. There have been fires since, right? Isn't that kind of it? There's really no big deal, right, to these fires. What are you people getting at? What's the matter with you people? Why is everything so weird and so strange? Why? Let me ask you a question. When I say to you fires, massive fires, and not scrub fires in the middle of some forest that doesn't bother anybody, where there's nobody there, where there's no effort, what do you think? James Woods is reporting that they're all made to evacuate, and we wish him the best. I like James Woods. What are you thinking? What comes to mind? Come on. I'm letting you do it. What comes to mind? Come on. Let's go. Go on. Don't hold back. Oh, no. Pretend it's other shows who just say whatever they think. Somebody says weather modification. What does this have to do with the weather? Unless you believe the idea that maybe perhaps it was dry and timber-like. What is it? Lahaina. Okay. Space lasers. DEW. Space lasers. Remember who said that? Marjorie Taylor Greene. Remember that? And she said something, I don't know how, maybe you can recall. She made an association of some sort with she made some connection to, I guess she did, something with the Rothschilds or something. I don't know how. And they said, aha, you think it's some kind of Jewish or lasers or something. I don't know. I don't even know the story. And she was immediately shelved as being some kind of an anti-Semite or something. I was like, no. Because they had to scuttle and shutter the story because of the fact that it was Marjorie Taylor Greene. And Marjorie Taylor Greene had to be derailed at any cost. Remember that? Do you remember why they said that? Do you know the history? Is there anything to that? Is there anything to this? I'm asking you. I cannot believe the degree of absolute insipidity on the part of those normal folks of you who always are just absolutely pouring over with thoughts and ideas and hypotheses and suspicions, and so far you've said nothing. Why? What's the matter with you? I don't understand this. You surprise me. I mean, I thought you loved this stuff. I did a video today on the absolute specious nature of a very talented young lady, Candace Owens, where she just, this one is this and this and this and this and psychopaths are this, and that's the way they do it. And she just made this up across the board. And people are saying, this is fantastic. It's like, where's the evidence of this? Wait. I don't need evidence. This is great. This is fantastic. I love it. I thought you wanted that. Well, we're not going to do that. First, because we are rational, critical thinkers here, in this, we're going to look at some of the, dare I say, we're going to look at some of the facts of this. You see, this is very interesting. A massive, massive, massive brush fire erupted all of a sudden in the Pacific Palisades. Very, very rich, exclusive, very high property area. Big dollar stuff. Yeah. I mean, it's big. You notice how we don't have these things that show up in the middle of nowhere. You know that? Like, hey, look, they're in the desert. Well, it won't be a desert, but hey, look at this. There's a thing there. Hey, isn't that interesting? It sure is. Wow. What is that? I don't know. I don't know where that comes from. Huh. But it triggered mandatory evacuations for over 26,000 residents, shutting down key highways, key critical areas. And the wildfire, of course, always fueled by the Santa Ana winds and dry conditions. Oh, yes. It quickly spread across more than 200 acres, destroying multiple structures in the upscale, white, affluent neighborhoods nestled in the Santa Monica Mountains. The rapid escalation has placed thousands of homes and iconic landmarks, such as the Getty Villa. Don't forget who the Gettys are. The Gettys run California and own Gavin Newsom. The Getty Villa is under threat, with fire crews working tirelessly to protect as many structures as possible. By the way, do you know when you buy homes and properties in that area, do you know the thing that is the accoutrement you need more than anything else? The thing which is, I mean, you are the biggest, baddest if you have this. Not tennis courts or solaria or pickleball. Nobody cares about pickleball anymore. You notice that? That was done. Your own fire hydrant. Your own fire hydrant. Your own right there. It's like, wow. You want to be able to hook up right away. So the fire began apparently at 1:30 this afternoon near Piedra Morada, which of course translates into the cattle are dying, and Monte Hermoso drives, and it grew to 20 acres within 30 minutes, 20 acres, eventually consuming over 200 acres by 3 p.m. Mandatory evacuations were ordered for areas from Merrimack Road west to Topanga Canyon Boulevard and south to Pacific Coast Highway, forcing thousands of residents, affluent residents, important residents, to flee their homes. Traffic gridlocked along the Sunset Boulevard and Palisades Drive. Evacuees and emergency responders scrambled to navigate the chaos. The LAFD, the fire department, set up an evacuation center at Westwood Recreation Center to accommodate displaced residents. Although no injuries or fatalities have been reported, thank God, as of the last time we checked, the fire's rapid spread has left many residents reeling. Witnesses described embers leaping across canyons and homes engulfed in flames, while some residents abandoned their vehicles to run towards safety along the Pacific coast. SoCal Edison, the region's electric provider, preemptively shut off power to several circuits in Malibu to mitigate further risks, warning that additional outages could follow. Adding to the tension, Los Angeles Mayor Karen Bass was out of the country, attending the inauguration of Ghana's John Dramani Mahama. Why not? Leaving local officials to manage the crisis. And meanwhile, high winds and a lack of significant winter rainfall have exacerbated fire conditions, even after 2 wet winters left the region with abundant but now highly flammable brush. The fire, my friends, has sparked renewed concerns about Southern California's vulnerability to wildfires. Gee, you think? Particularly in affluent areas like Pacific Palisades, where multi-million-dollar homes are perched in high-risk zones. With smoke blanketing Los Angeles and thousands of residents displaced, the full extent of the damage remains unclear as emergency teams continue to battle the Inferno. And for now, the focus remains on protecting lives and property, with fire crews prioritizing both residential areas and cultural landmarks in their efforts. Now, what do you think? Where would you like to go with this? Where should you? Pilgrim says, what are the hoary hosts in Sacramento doing? It's a good question. What are they doing in? And people will write, Lahaina. What about it? I don't know, Miss Raina. Hello, Lahaina. How are you? No. Lahaina. That's all I'm going to do. That's all I'm going to say. Arson. Somebody says arson. Do you think it's arson? Do you believe it's arson? Wait a minute. You see this right here? Get some blue tarps for your roof. What do you mean by that? Liberbor. Have you heard that one? Have you heard that one? You heard about the blue tarp? Have you heard about the blue coverings what they're doing in China? Have you seen that? Have you heard about that? Have you? Here we go. So obvious it was planned. Why was it obvious? Finding Dory. Why was it obvious? I ask, I beseech, I beg, I entreat. I ask you, why is it obvious it was planned? What do you know that I don't know? Why is it obvious? Please tell us. Please. I see evidence it is planned. Do you see any evidence? Definitely arson. Why, Terry? Why? What is this, the Candace Owens show? You just say what you want. Oh, definitely. Why? Because I'm an expert. And that's the way I think. And I believe to be that which I suspect. Come on. Let's go. What do you think? Finally says, I believe in weather manipulation. This has nothing to do with weather manipulation. And why would you believe in that? Dory, what is the reason? You believe in it? Tell me, pray tell. I've got some answers. I've studied this too. Why do you believe in it? I don't know. I just do. No, why? What does the weather have to do with this? Weather's fine. It's a weather regular day. It's not lightning. There's no rains, no floods. What weather? What? Here we go. What's different about the heat of these California fires that melt tubs and car rims, Lionel? Oh, we'll get to that in a moment. Some of these, have we seen that yet? We haven't seen the evidence of this yet. You're applying Lahaina, you're doing Northern California stuff. You haven't even seen this yet. You don't even know it. You're just using the same argument. You think all fires are the same because you don't know shit about fires. You don't know shit. It's okay. You're not supposed to be. You lay tile. You're a civilian. You don't know anything about it, but you want it to be. God damn it, you want it to be. It's what Candace Owens says. I want these people, all these people to be gay. And I don't even know why, but I'm going to say they are. Because I know. Take it easy, Candace. Okay, I will. How do you know this? That's about how I know this. I just know. I'm imbued with the power of knowing everything. I know this. I know it. For the love of God. Now let's talk about something, shall we? Let's talk about some things. First, you got to understand something. You see, when everybody believes in something, it means something. Let me ask you something. Do you think that chiropractic works? I think it must. Want all these people go to it. You think acupuncture works? I think so. Why? All these people go to it for thousands of years. You think that when somebody believes, do you think there's something to God? I do. All these people believe in it. Do you see what I'm saying? Let's start off with this. When somebody suspects something, I think there's something to it. Could very well be. I don't know what kind of proof there is. So when a lot of people say something, listen. But you don't go and you start saying that people are gay or that somebody's wife is a man or did this when they were a kid when you don't know anything. When you don't know shit. But you love being angry. I'm not angry. I'm very calm. You see, my friends, the spate, the excessive wildfires, particularly those in Texas and Maui, Lahaina, Chile, California, Northern California, sparked widespread speculation and conspiracy theories. That's right, theories of conspiracies. Theories that there were two or more groups of people that acting in confederation. But you know what that means. Conspiracy theory means that something nefarious. With many people pointing towards the use of directed energy weapons. Do's and don'ts. Remember Lori Dew? Remember her? Do's and don'ts. The dew point. What's the dew point? Do's. D-E-W's. Do's. Remember be a doobie? Be a doobie. Do's. We're going to call them do's. Call them doozies. That's what we'll call them. That'll be our code. You see, these fires have been noted for their unusual characteristics. See, this is what you're talking about. Now, I can tell you what we've observed. I don't know what it is, but I can tell you what I've observed. If you're a doctor and you find people, all of a sudden a spate of people out on camping trips, and they all have these huge saber-tooth-like gashes in them, you're not suggesting Sasquatch or whatever, but you're saying, no, I'm telling you what I'm seeing. But there have been these fires that destroy homes down to the ash. To the ash. I mean, not just burning, but cinder block and just nothing. And yet leaving trees and vegetation relatively unscathed. I was here on the 11th day of the 9th month, 23, almost 24 years ago. And I saw stuff that I can tell you, and I say by the way, on my private channel, I went into this in great detail today. Because I don't have to worry about this. I don't have to worry about saying things. You people can't even super chat and say good. Poor Sparky's got to say Doog. Doogie Howser. He doesn't know. He's a good man. Now, this pattern of destruction has led to a growing belief and suspicion, certainly among many, many people, that these are not natural wildfires, but rather they appear to be the result of high-tech weaponry or instrumentation designed for precise targeting. You heard me. You see, the evidence of doozies includes the public acknowledgement of their development and potential deployment. There's a woman named Claire Sadler, or as they say in the UK, a woman called, a man called. We don't say named, a man by the name of, we always say called. A woman called Claire Sadler from Forces News highlighted the Dragon Fire laser system. Dragon Fire. Capable of striking targets with pinpoint accuracy. Footage, you can see it. You can go online. You can see it. I mean, it's there. Go to my X channel at Lionel Media on my X channel X. This system, which could be, or probably is, I mean, at this point, military use, uses intense beam of light for destruction, raising questions about similar technology, how it might be used for covert use, because the heat that is employed. In fact, the aftermath of the Texas fires was described by Texas Governor Greg Abbott as unlike anything seen with traditional natural disasters, like hurricanes or tornadoes, where some structures typically remains. In these cases, however, he says, quote, it's just gone. This is a quote, completely gone. Nothing left but ashes on the ground, suggesting an intensity and selectivity that defy conventional fire behavior. This is not what I'm making up. I'm not thinking this. I'm not like Candace Owens, who just says he's a troglodyte. What? He is. And he and the psychopaths are, and because they're troglodytes, and then they're because of psychopathy and this, and because I work myself into a froth. I don't create narratives for you that you want to hear. I tell you things that I know to be evidentiary. And let me tell you something about something right now. And you listen to me. And I've told you this before right now. And I don't know what it is. But I'm not saying be scared until now. Be scared. You'd better really be serious about being able to prepare for God knows what. You think James Woods, if I said, hey, James, good man, James Woods, you might have to evacuate everything that you earn, everything that you work for, everything that it could be gone by something called a fire. A fire. Let's say we have this right here. There's this fire. And once the fire starts, satellite technology. Do you know how many satellites Elon Musk has put up? Like, I remember, like 6,000 or something. There's satellites all over the place. I'm surprised that aliens don't bump into one. And whenever somebody just says, "Hey, there's a fire there," bring in the the plane to drop that fire retardant. Or I'm sorry, I shouldn't say that joke. But anyway, drop the stuff. But no, we still haven't stopped fires. It's in those areas. It's like we do with tornadoes, like that great comedian, what's his name, James Gregory, who said, and people think as long as they have plywood, they can stop a hurricane. We're still not able to stop fires. How many of these? But it's a different story. Maybe they travel at such a rate of speed, nobody can stop them. Well, let me tell you something right now. I don't know what they're going to do in your neck of the woods. I don't know if it's going to be a riot, some kind of a supply chain backup. I don't know. But my friends, a smart patriot is a prepared patriot. And with all of your ammo and all of the things that you've got ready to go, your locks and your guard dogs and your protecting hearth and family, you better go to preparewithlionel.com. They've got a New Year's special right now. They are the best of the best of the best. They're coming. They're coming. And they're coming not for you, but your livelihood, your fear. There are people right now freaking out. And let me tell you what we do about this country. You know what else we do in this country? Let me tell you what we do in this country. We forget about it. We just forget about the whole thing. We forget about it all. We'll talk about it. I'll talk about Lahaina. Whatever happened, I don't know. Was Oprah buying property? I don't know. Hey, Harris Faulkner, would you talk about that? Oh, I don't talk about that. Why? I'm Fox News. Oh no, no. Harris, don't you want to be? No. Harris, have you ever wanted to discuss the weaponry? No, that's too conspiracy-like. These people are worthless. You listen to Uncle Lenny. Now, adding fuel to the conspiracies, as they say, Joe Biden, in a rare moment of lucidity, Comment. Remember when he commented about roofs protecting homes from burning? His comments were scrutinized. What do you mean? His reference to homes with the right roof surviving in areas where others were obliterated has been interpreted by some as an inadvertent emission of dewies. Understand that? Or doobies, I guess we should call them. Doobies. Now this notwithstanding his rather lack of reliability for reality for the most part, but the notion that a blue roof might deflect or absorb energy from some of these weapon systems have been stems from observations in Maui, where some blue roof structures were alleged to remain standing amidst widespread devastation. Am I making this up? No. I'm reporting to you what I'm hearing. Am I telling you anything? No. I'm giving you evidence. You decide. Am I like Candace Owens? No, it's the way it is. It's a blue roof and it protects you because of the beams from the dark lords of the... No. I'm telling you. Remember one time when they first... I give this story, my friend, and I know it may be gross to you, but I find it fascinating. Years ago, people who had terrible gut flora problems and C. diff, and oh my God, it was just, people were just wasting away. Somebody said, let's go and take fecal matter from individuals who have balanced and good gut flora, good E. coli balances, good feces. I'm going to say it. And let's take some of their feces and let's transplant it into the gut. Literally, transplant it. And let's do it. And let's see if we can regulate, recalibrate, jumpstart their gut systems by taking syringe-like, and it's prepared, and actually through a kind of like a not a colonoscopy, but something along that, the tube length, and introducing it. Now, people were saying, this is the most ridiculous thing. This is disgusting. Oh, it's so gross. Until it saved people's lives. And it worked. And sometimes you have to apply things that just work. You have to do things that make sense. And you see, if somebody tells me they notice something, if they notice that maybe, remember some people wear copper bracelets? I've known people who swear, I don't know how that works. I had a great dentist friend of mine. He was a golfer. He said he swore by copper bracelets. He says, I don't know what it is. I don't care. And I'm not going to tell him, you're crazy. It was evidence-based. Don't you understand how this works? Don't you understand what I'm saying? I don't just make stuff up. If there's something that people are noticing, I will tell you. And then we'll act upon. Maybe it is the color, maybe not. Maybe it's anecdotal. I don't know. But I'm not going to pull a CO on you and just tell you something, because I think it would be groovy if we had laser systems in space fired by China to whatever, or part of a new world order. We'll get to that in a moment. But I will tell you the background of this. I'll tell you the stuff that makes sense. Now, the timing and the location of these fires, now this is important, happen to align with a broader geopolitical strategy, particularly those outlined by the United Nations. Did you ever read Codex Alimentarius? Nope. Agenda 21? You know about them. Agenda 2030? What about Vision 2045, huh? Vision 2045, which aims to redistribute land use, promoting smart cities, restricting human habitation to specific areas, The fires in California, Maui, Chile, Texas, where the largest fire in state history occurred in Texas, all coincide suspiciously, interestingly enough, with areas targeted for smart city development or land clearance under these plans. Is that enough to declare this is a new world order? If you're Candace Owens, maybe, but I'm not saying that. But keep that in mind. Tuck that away. In Maui, where the fires destroyed much of Lahaina, there was a long-standing interest in converting the land for smart city projects. Remember that? And the fires, which occurred after roads were allegedly blocked, preventing escape and with minimal aid provided to survivors, suggest to some, a motive possibly linked to land acquisition. In Chile, I love saying that. I don't say Chile, Chile. The fires in Viña del Mar. It followed the city, listen to this, followed the city planning conference, and local officials pointed to arson rather than climate change as the cause. Isn't that something? Isn't that something? In Amarillo, highlighted under the United Nations Vision 2045, for potential development. It was the epicenter of the massive fires. The pattern suggested to skeptics and those alike that the fires might be orchestrated, coordinated to clear land for new development, aligning with, dare I say, globalist agendas like moving populations into controlled urban development. That's just a thought. That's a thought. That's a thought. Remember how they did all these other tests? Remember that? Years ago, right before the Rona hit? How many of those did you, would you like me to bring up to you? I want to read something to you. Do you remember this? Do you remember, let me see something. I want to show this to you. This is very, very important. Let me see this just a minute. I want to read something to you. Let me see. I want to give you these names because I really like to be specific when I give you these things. Just bear with me. I also like to look things up. I'm trying to get the number. Did you know that there were maybe roughly, don't hold me to this, I'm trying to get the number. Here we go. 45 or so. Oh, yes. On the 11th day, this is verified. I'm not going to just tell you this like somebody I know. On the 11th day of the 9th month, 23 years ago, there were these war games going on of all days that day. Global Guardian, Vigilant Guardian, Vigilant Warrior. Richard Clark talked about it. There were about maybe 20, 40. There were so many drills. Government operations and exercises on that day, there were maybe 40 different military operations, planned military exercises, national reconnaissance office drill, Operation Tripod. It went on and on. Do you think it not interesting? Do you think it not odd? Do you think it not worthy of further discussion? That on the worst day of our history, there happened to be 20, 30, all these war games in operation, so that if somebody were to pick up the phone and say, hey, it appears to be somebody has commandeered a plane. Yeah, I know, that's operation. No. This is the real thing about. No, I know you're supposed to say that. We're doing it. No. I'm not pretending somebody who's. Isn't that something? I love that. On that day, and there were, and what happens is all the usual military, the assets and the equipment and the planes, they're not there. They're not available because they're over there. Remember, if ever you find out that your city, and they don't announce this, but if let's say you live in Topeka or Walnut Creek or wherever the hell you're from, if you find out that they're conducting a bank robbery kind of an operation of war games for the police, go rob a bank that day. Your chance of success goes through the roof. Why? Because that's what they're doing. Because you always have war games that go hot. That's another thing. A lot of times, you meander up to the line in a war game to make it look like you're just practicing, when all of a sudden they say, now, and then you move in. Now, while there is no definitive proof that the Deweys or Doobies were the cause of these fires, the accumulation of substantial circumstantial evidence combined with the acknowledged fact and the existence and development of such weapons maintains this debate. However, of course, traditional arson, as somebody might say, has also been confirmed in some instances, complicating the narrative, and not to in any way, if I were a bad guy, would always make sure that I had some arson going on. So I can say, yeah, there was some arson there. Because if there's no one, I would make sure some guys go, oh God, you caught me. Some guy with, gas, cans. And so you can always say, see, it's the mad, whatever it is, for a cover. I'm just saying. It's called a false flag, I think it is. Now, well, when you know that there is a larger strategy, acknowledged, written, published, to reshape human habitation and land use in lines with globalist visions like Vision 2045 and 21, you have to acknowledge the transformative and transformational challenges and changes in human living patterns that would accompany that, and that would facilitate the particular event they want. And so this scenario where stability gives rise to radical change is seen not just as a possibility, but as maybe an ongoing reality, or as a reason to be suspicious. Do you not get it yet? Do you not tell me you understand this? Now, we have to investigate this. And I'm not going to sit here and tell you that this is the UN, or that this is Project Vision 2045, or that I don't know that. I'm not Candace Owens. I don't do this. I don't just tell you stuff that we kind of hope or think or have a hunch. I don't do that. Do you know what I could tell you that I would bet anything? Rumor, what everybody knows in Hollywood, but it's still not enough. But I want you to be aware of this. I want you to be aware of this. I also want you to understand something too. And I did something today. I did a piece on Oh God, on Mark Zuckerberg. I hope you watched it. I hope you're watching these at Lionel Nation. He was talking about free speech and expression. Well, there's a feller who was absolutely mowed over and bulldozed by the radical left and by the shadow government. Mike Lindell, mypillow.com. And if you go to mypillow.com, promo code Lionel, I am telling you, this guy is bigger and badder and better than anything you've ever seen in your life. Right now, they've got a classic collection sale, bed sheet sale, My Towels, 2-pack multi-use My Pillows, closeout sales for sandals and slippers. Do you know that slippers, that may be, I don't know if it's their number one next to the pillows, but it could be up there. Do you know that all he does is he thinks of soft and comfort and cushy, and they said, slippers. MyPillow.com, promo code Lionel. MyPillow.com, promo code Lionel. Don't expect anybody to understand what we're saying. It's too esoteric. Spandex says black and white photography uses blue, green, red, yellow filters to negate that corresponding color. Thus it appears white, not gray. Same principle? Could very well be. Crypto says leave the electric eels and the pyramids are dudes. I want to party with you. You know that? I really do. I might break my rule. I might want to party with you. Headed to float, Uncle Lenny. Weather's fine. Oh, you can have it. You can have it over there. One of my worst nightmares. They say, you're going to go home. What? You're going to go back. I'm going to go back. No. I'm not going to go back. Yeah, you're going to go back. I don't want to go back. I don't want to go back there. Well, you're going to go back. I don't want to go back. I love the people. I love the place. No way. My IQ points just drop. When I get out of the airport, I swear to God, I feel it. I feel like, oh, God. There's something that's not right. Want to go to the Publix? No. Want to go to the beach? No. Want to look at the sunset? No. Want to go fishing? No. Want to go play golf? No. What do you want to do? Want to go to the Publix? Want to go to Publix? Want to go to Publix? Want to go to the mall? No? Okay. Sorry. No. I love it right here. 28 degrees as we speak right now. Beautiful day. Beautiful day. Now listen. Did you see the actual caca del toro? Well, listen, Jimmy Carter, he's a human being, probably a decent man. I think he was a decent man. Worst president ever. Worst president ever. Well, no, strike that. Excuse me. That's Joe Biden. No, forgive me. I'm sorry. I don't know what made me even say that. I've been through this whole thing, and I know you should always honor. He was a president. He was elected, and whatever. But he sucked, and they talked about him like he was a man of. Okay, all right, I'll let you do that. It's like one time when you have we had one of our relatives die, and one of the children was saying, this guy was a real prick. And my father, he's next to me, and he kept saying, who the hell are they talking about? He said, who's he talking about? They're talking about Uncle Larry. Who? That's not the Larry I know. I know. So what do I do? You tell me now, how do we get the message out? How do I make somebody even aware of the fact? Do you know that I know maybe, I'm not going to mention his name, but probably the greatest arson investigator maybe of all time. And arson, believe it or not, a lot of times is more of behavior. And I remember one time there was this guy, I always liked, I don't want to inspire people, but I always want to say, well, what are ways to, that people do things? Well, first of all, people say, well, why do you use accelerants? Why? We're always going to find it. What do you get an accelerant for? I mean, sometimes and I'm not telling anybody how to fight, please, arson is terrible, you're going to kill somebody. But if somebody put newspaper on a bed and lit it, and the fire comes in and they take a hose and they blow it away, and they say it was a fire, it started here, the dog comes in, I don't smell anything, well, it was a fire. I remember one time there was a fellow who said years ago, he said, the real, I don't want to get too much into this, but if you're really going to do something, it's the way you, like, for example, there have been arsons where all of a sudden they said, hey, did you lose anything? And the wife says, well, we're sure glad we got our wedding pictures out. You took your wedding pictures out? Yeah. Why would you take your wedding pictures out right before this tragic fire? I was showing you took your wedding pictures out? You have a dog? Yeah. Where was the dog? Oh, the dog was being groomed. The dog was groomed before the fire. So you made sure that the pet that you love wasn't there. Okay. And you happen to have your family. Oh, okay. So behaviors indicate a lot of things. They show you, So when the United Nations finds the stupidest people in the world, us, it tells you. Johns Hopkins, Rockefeller, they can put on war games for pandemics down to the most precise, exacting. And nobody says, hey, they know nothing about it. Do you notice that what they said was going to happen happened? Because Americans don't do anything. They just want to sit back and let people tell them. What I'm asking you to do is you got to think, and you've got to research, and you got to ask yourself, how many of these coincidences must we go through? What happened to us? Why don't we care? Why don't we notice? I did today a piece. I hope you are getting the newsletter. And it's just a piece on Ashley Babbitt. And Ashley Babbitt breaks my heart. And I'm going to give you a little bit of a link here. This is a link. And if you go to this link, this will also provide you with the ability to subscribe. And every now and then somebody says, I didn't get the email. It's like, well, that's on the list and maybe it's your spam. I check spam. I was like, well, I don't know what to tell you. But to provide this to you. This is a woman who was murdered. And nobody cares. There was not one. There we go. That's the Babbitt, not news, but Lionel Nation News. Not one police officer, not one was killed there. One did afterwards. And the pension board or whatever granted his wife full benefits because they said that the reason for his was because of January 6th. So they didn't give a damn about him or his family and her ability to live afterwards. No, what they did was they decided, lo and behold, to come along. And what they did was very interesting. They decided to push for this. So the only person who died that day was Ashley Babbitt. Never forget her name. And please spell her name right. That's all we got to say. So I did one for that. I also did some other good things today, which, it makes people, they have their girlfriends and their boyfriends. Some people just go crazy. And I admit, I love it. I love to make people reconsider their heroes. This is called Ashley Babbitt. Remember her name and the fact that no Capitol Police were on J6. Then there was Zuckerberg hostage video where he came out and he said, remember this? Where he came out and he said supposedly, we've decided that, a lot of these things don't work. What? The things, the algorithms, a lot of them don't work. They don't work? And why don't they work? Well, sometimes they don't work because you made them. And you don't want them to work. And you were working in cahoots with the FBI without any problem. You worked in cahoots with, fighting that Biden business. You worked in cahoots with Fauci and everybody else. Plus, he gave $419 million to the Democratic Party. So don't give me this bullshit about how all of a sudden, I think we should maybe. What are you talking about? What are you talking about? And the best part about it, he's not a psychopath. People love that term, psychopath. They're not psychopaths. That's a Candace Owens. I know you love her. She uses that word too much. You don't even know what a psychopath is. I promise you, you've never met a psychopath. You've met some evil people and some nasty people, but you've never met a psychopath. Never. It doesn't mean people say Hillary Clinton's a psychopath. She's not a psychopath. The word has been diluted to nothing. Oh, and I said this the other day too, because that's such a term of art. I said, by the way, you also know who wasn't a psychopath? Hitler. No, not at all. Not a psychopath. Not a psychopath at all. People have this crazy idea. Our good friend, look at this. Look who it is. It is a Mad Heater. Like Mad, not Mad Hatter, Mad Heater. Became a member. Thank you so much. We used to call it Jewish lightning. No, Jewish lightning was the terrible word for arson for profit. That this things. What they call the Irish flu, hungover, that kind of stuff. There's all this stuff. The Sicilian flu, that's when you're in, when you feign a heart attack and you're on trial. If there's one thing I'm going to teach you about, there's something you must really, really, really stop using the word psychopath. There is a woman on YouTube. She's an Indian woman. I think Indian. She's American, I think now, but she's Indian, I think, by nationality. And all she talks about are narcissists. She has like 2 billion. She has done 50,000 YouTube or pieces on narcissists. I mean, it's like they're not that interesting to me. Psychopaths are really not that interesting. I mean, they are, but they're so rare. They really are rare. They're not what you think. But what do you think it is? It's this word that we use for like to even think that Hillary Clinton was a psychopath. It's like you're really, just because you like to do evil things to people. A sadist is not necessarily a psychopath. A sadist is able to not necessarily is to know relationships and know connection and fear. And I just love when people get into these words. That's unconstitutional. No, it's not unconstitutional. Well, it should be. Precision, my friends. Precision. Yes, Dr. Ramani. Oh, my God. I mean, it's wonderful, but dear God. And by the way, martial law, like Marshall Tucker's a name. Martial, from the Greek word Mars, is another story. I think we're being set up for martial law. Now, there's no reason to think martial law, the suspension of civilian courts, there's no evidence of this. You don't want that. Who wants martial law? Why do you want martial law? If I'm running the deep state, the police state, the intel state, shadow government, ruling class, I don't want that. I don't want martial law. I can get so much done. Just, no, I want everything to look the same. I want to have a corrupt system, but I don't want to have military tribunals, the suspension of habeas corpus. No. Just do it very calmly. Just do it calmly. We do these things because I think I don't know why we say these things. And by the way, I appreciate what you've said. Sometimes I can think it may appear to some folks to be reasonable, but you'll never see martial law in this country. Never. You don't know. Causes too much attention, and plus it's embarrassing. Oh, big USA. Martial law. Martial law? No. We're under so much totalitarian nonsense right now. There's no need for that. But pay attention to something. Marshall Tucker, yes. Do you know where Marshall Tucker, the name came from? Toy Caldwell told the story. He and his brother Tommy, they were in Spartanburg, and they wanted to, I think they were trying to rehearse, or they went to something, and there was a piano in the studio or this office or this building. Either the piano, either the key. There was a person there named Marshall Tucker. Either he owned the building, or his name was on a keychain, or in the piano, or something. But it was just a name they saw. And they said, okay, we're going to go with that. We're going to go with Marshall Tucker. Like there's some names that come along that are interesting, how people come up with that. 12 minutes ago, I concur. That's why we love you. Excellent, my friend. Thank you. And we love you as well. I love you as well. By the way, Marshall Tucker. Marshall Tucker. By the way, here's something too. Is this true that Donald Trump was bankrupted 6 times? You said that fact. This is Texas Nightmare. Is that true? Was he bankrupted? What do you mean by bankrupted? He's not going to follow up on this, though, by the way. You mean Chapter 7? I mean, liquidation? On the balls of his ass? What do you mean? 6 times. What do you mean by that? Come on, Texas. Don't be like that other person. What do you mean? Tell me. Don't run. Don't hide. Say it. Say it. Here we go. Take a go. No, you're prevaricating. Get to the point. Was he bankrupt 6 times? Come on. Don't run. Say it. Because he can't. Because I want to lure them in. Go ahead. Come on. He can't. He has no idea what he's talking about. He bankrupted a casino. Nope. Bankrupted. Do you know how many times, was it Google? I think Google Glass. There's reorganization. You know how many times? Again, how dumb do you have to be to bankrupt a casino? He didn't bankrupt a casino. It never happened. But that's okay. It doesn't really matter. Now remember, let's welcome our friend Texas Nightmare. When you meet somebody and they know this is called drive-by or double park knowledge, ask them, well, what do you mean? And they can't answer it because nobody's ever questioned them. It's kind of like, I hate to bring it up, Candace Owens. The unprofitable services, people often use memes like martial law, MK Ultra, Bluebeam, Marxist, narcissist, expressionistically, not strictly apt, but poetically so. Oh, I agree with you. I absolutely agree with you. Sometimes they use it kind of as an, you're right, as a kind of an expression. But there are things that we know. Do you remember, and I find this interesting, do you remember the number of people who have these things they've said about Michelle Obama? And you know what that is. And I don't want to go through this stuff again. But remember this? Michelle Obama. Remember this? Okay. And there's jokes. Well, Joan Rivers. Joan Rivers. So what about Joan Rivers? Joan Rivers has some things, but what do you know about it? Well, it took on this heft. And there are people who will swear to it. It's not the Streisand effect. It's not the, I don't know what effect you want to call it, but they swear. There's truth with it. You know what? I believe that too. You believe what? I believe she. Why do you say that? I don't know. I just believe that she. No, tell me why. Where did you hear this? I don't know, but okay. How do you know that? How do you know that? And then, there's nothing. Nothing. And I'm sorry. And they will try so desperately, they'll back into it because it's more fun than that. How do you know the sexual inclinations of Macron or Obama or Trudeau? How do you know that? Or Zelensky? I'm no fan of Zelensky. How do you know this? How do you know this? I've got people I know. There are people friends of mine in the gay community, right? In the entertainment gay community, big gay community. You know what I mean? And they tell me, well, I know this person is, and I've heard this list about famous people. And I said, if we had to go to court and you had to prove it, and in one case is, simple. I know the guy he's been living with. What? Do you know the people in Hollywood who have double lives and everybody knows this, and you can point to them and go, no, that's who they are. There are some people, believe it or not, you could really say, no, they're living, and everybody knows it, and it's been quiet. Nobody said anything. But there are other people you can say, well, I don't really know. I'm not really sure. But it's interesting how we know certain things. You've heard about Richard Gere stories. We'll leave it at that. Nobody can prove anything. Nothing. But it's been said for so long with such frequency. Just remember that. And remember, if you're also in a group of people who appreciate you saying this, go, yes, that's what I want to be true also. Come on into our circle. We like you. Say this. Yes, we don't like Macron. We don't like whoever. We don't like Barack Obama. We don't like Michelle. We don't like. So come on. We like you to say things that whether they're true or not, or whether we believe them, we like to hear this because we kind of want them to be true. Be wary of that. That goes double for religions, politics, ideologies, mythology, old wives' tales, all kinds of stuff. How many times did your family ever have a behavior? For example, in Sicilian, and I'm sure there's other groups as well, but you cannot leave the house other than a door you came in into. So if you come in the front door, you got to leave the front door. Now, I don't know how you work that when you live there. Well, when did I come into that? Well, yesterday I went out. Anyway, but they have these expressions. You can't give somebody bread. You can't. There are a Sicilian group. They can't give you bread. There was something about, I don't know why. You can't. They say don't sit on a wet towel. During polio, people worried about it. I said, who's going to sit on a wet towel at a pool, for example? And there are things that we say with such frequency. Don't go swimming after you've eaten, that kind of jazz. Don't sit so close to the TV. That might have made some sense. But there's all these things. Well, with those old wives' tales comes this new generation. I heard there was a guy who was talking about what sugar does. And he was on he just made this stuff up about sugar. Now, I agree, sugar is a very bad thing. You got to get away from it. But he was saying things that were just absolutely nonsense. So what I'm going to say to you, and I'm just going to leave you with this. I've left you with a lot of stuff to talk about and to think about regarding fires and, 2045 and Agenda 21 and 2030 and all this other kind of stuff, and globalist plans for reorganization and relocation and blah, blah, blah. That doesn't mean that that's proof of anything. That doesn't mean that gives us a good place to start off. To start. It gives us a great place to start our journey. That's all. Be happy with it. Johnny Maz the Spaz. Ladies and gentlemen, any truth Trump may send U.S. troops to help Israel? Oh, dear God. I can't even imagine that. Help Israel against whom? No. No. I will go berserk if that even happens. Or go more berserk. I'll become a berserker. So, Johnny Maz, thank you. Unprofitable Servant, Crypto Domini, Mad Hater, thank you. Spandex, and the Pilgrim Media, thank you for your kindness. I also ask you to follow right now Mrs. L. I told you in 12 days, my beloved, my light, my life, my everything. She's got a birthday coming up. And I want to give her the present of nothing but, I want her to have 100,000 followers. Now, that might be a little bit too much. That might be, I don't know too much. But you know what? I don't necessarily think so. I don't necessarily think so. I think that what it is maybe, it'll be just, it might not be too much for me to ask you to go, and let me give you a link for this, which is very important. The link helps drastically. And it's something which is critical, very, very important. And where it is, here we go. Lynn's Warriors on YouTube. That was my Wuzu. Best thing I ever bought is the Wuzu fan. I'm not selling them, or I have no money in this. By the way, here's the link. Mrs. L. Lynn's Warriors. Lynn's Warriors. Let me show you this. This is the greatest thing ever. It goes up and down, it goes sideways, it got different speeds and all this. It's got a little thing you get in the back, and you can sit in your bed or whatever it is. It is the greatest thing. Even sometimes when it's cold and you put the heater on, you just want something to move. It's the greatest thing in the world. Sometimes during the summer, it was so hot. I just turned that baby on. It's like Mrs. L will come in and say, Jesus, what are you okay? Is it? And I was at a sheet or a cover. It's the greatest thing in the world. Wuzu. I got it at Costco. I love it. I got two of them. I think they're the greatest thing in the world. It's a fan, but it's just, I like when something really helps. When something really, really, really helps. You know what I mean? Something that really is good. All right, dear friends, have a great, 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 and a glorious day. Don't ever change. I mean that sincerely. You are so terrific. Thank you for your open-mindedness. Please make sure you follow Lionel Nation as well. I need your numbers. I need it. They're trying to crush me. They don't like what I have to say. Because there are a lot of people I don't like. I don't like people. I don't, it's not that I don't like them, I don't know them, but I don't like their message. I really do. And there are certain things I'm thinking, this is intellectually discourteous to people. And I've always been like that. And I'm telling you right now, I promise you, I realize that I will never, ever, ever be allowed to be of some, mega million followers. It's just not going to happen because you have to adhere to a group of people and sell yourself to that people. I can't do that because the issues will change. And everybody will feel at some point betrayal at some point. But I'm thinking, I'm not betraying you. It's the issue. Like John Maynard Keynes said, when the facts change, I change my mind. When something comes along, I've got people friends of mine who thought I was, in the old days from, high school, we were kind of like liberal, cool 70s. Those times are over. They're over. It's not that I'm getting older or something. No, the times are changing. So I leave them. Then I meet these other people. They're called the conservatives. And I say, well, that's great. Until I point out something that Trump's doing wrong, or that so-and-so's doing wrong, or that I had a woman the other day. She said, it's a friend. She says, well, the Republican Party should move to stop. Oh, look at this. The Getty Museum is catching fire. Did you see this? Oh, this is really something. We're going to pick up on this tomorrow. But in any event, I need your help. And I really need it. You've got to just to subscribe. And if you haven't now, I don't know why, but I'm not going to change who I am. I'm going to tell you exactly. And whenever I tell you something, I believe it. And sometimes I made a lot of people mad in 2020 when I said, Trump's not going to win this. He's not going to win. He's not doing the right thing. And people got very upset. And I was right. I didn't want it to be true, but I told you the truth. I'm never going to lie to you. And when you do that, remember, it's the truth that hurts you. It's better to lie to people. You'll get along much better. People will like you. Always be there and say, yeah, just say the same thing. I can't do that. It's not who I am. All right, my friends. Don't forget, Lynn's Warriors and Lionel Nation. All right, my friends, have a great and glorious day. See you tomorrow we're going to do 8 o'clock tomorrow. We'll change. Some things we're doing in the morning. So in any event, we love you. God bless America. God bless President Trump. And thank God for you. Now, if you don't mind, if you could, please, remember these final words, this valedictory. The monkey's dead. The show's over. Sue ya. Ta-ta.